So for the next stop in this trip, I'm off to see Ryan over at Barn Rat Studios. I met Ryan during Izzy Swan's Swan Dive Studio build out in January of this year. All right, Santa. What are we doing here?
We're eating food.
All right, everybody, so 5 hours outside of Chicago, I'm here at Barn Rat Studio with the one and only
Barn Rat.
Ryan's a woodworker. You should check some of his stuff out. A whole lot of, what do you call it, reclaimed and rustic?
Yep.
Yeah, it's big right now. I can't make stuff look old, but this guy knows how to do it. We're gonna do some welding. Never welded, right?
Never.
Oh,
Not
man.
once in my life.
You're gonna like it. We just got the electrical hooked up so that we could convert his outlet over to my cord. We've got that run. Let's jump right into it. So our first project is to duplicate these floating shelf brackets. So we're just gonna start by marking them off, seeing as how we don't have a more professional saw to cut with.
That's hot.
Yeah, it's hot. So it's always gonna throw the sparks on a tangent to where you are. So right now you're throwing them at your crotch. So if you cut in like this, it's gonna throw them down. So as Ryan is new to metalworking, I'm gonna be doing a little bit of educating with him. Hope you guys will get something out of it too. All right, now I'll show you how to do a fatigue cut. If you look in here, the metal is kind of crystalline. It's got a grain. So when you cut it like that, you can break it along the grain. Just like cracking a brick with a hammer. All right?
The more you know.
So it's right back to a little bit more cutting so we can get on to the assembly. This is 1/2-inch round bar, and the back plates were made out of 3/16 by 1-inch flat bar.
Hello, buddy.
You know, a ghost on it?
Yep.
So this obviously isn't the safest way to do this cut, but I trust Ryan with the grinder, and a disc hitting your arm isn't that big of a deal. Preferably you do it here so the sparks go that way.
Got it.
It's more of a rolling action. Instead of trying to do the whole thing at once, you're just swiping past it. It's the exact same hand motion you'd have if you're like hand sanding the inside curve or something.
Got it.
All right.
So, other than cleaning it up, does the bevel have anything to do with welding it? Or?
Yeah, we're only putting a bevel on there to clean it up. But
okay.
If this
But
was
it's
something,
not like a channel for the
if this
weld
was
to hold
something
it up,
that
right?
was much larger or more structural, exactly, you would carve a bevel, generally a 45, and then weld down the bevel.
Okay.
So that you're penetrating deeper into the metal. These are shelf brackets.
Right.
So
yeah.
we're not worried about that. They're plenty strong to just butt up to each other like that and weld around.
Yep.
So with that brief explanation, we're going to jump right into welding. Brian's getting a little bit of a nice start here because we're using a nice machine, the ProPulse 200 from HTP. There you go, now you put a tack on the opposing side. It looks like we're just eyeballing everything here, but we are using the magnet off camera to make sure we're lining all these pieces up at 90 degrees. Not a bad first weld. Yeah, so start at the end of that and go to that tack. So what you're doing is you're getting a little bit far away, but this one's done now. No. See, the art or the skill of this is laying down, one long continuous bead that looks pretty. It's not so much structure. Yeah. Those are gonna hold. After finishing up with the shelf brackets, we called it a day on welding and got ready to head to Ryan's local library where he teaches a class on making of all sorts. This time we're making a serving tray. This is what we need right here.
As Ryan got ready at the library, I made a run to the local Lowe's because we had forgotten to get handles for the serving trays.
$131, Ryan. You owe me, man. We got some very nice tool chests from my local Lowe's. Thanks again.
Our hero has arrived!
That is the question.
Yeah.
Is this the top or the bottom?
When Ryan does these classes, he brings all the materials prepped as a kit. Everything's cut to size, and it's basically just an assembly class. I went ahead and threw one of these serving tables together so that you guys could see the entire process.
How you guys doing? Need some file holders?
So do you think geometry matters?
Always.
Good job.
It's got kind of a brownish color to the liquid. That is exactly why we moved your purse. So, what you'll do is when it's the color that you want, you can apply it to the wood. And as you can see, it's going to affect different woods in different ways. So once you put it on there, let it sit for a little bit, it gives it that rustic, kind of weathered look to it. Okay. You guys good? Oh, and don't worry about cleaning up, guys. That's what I got Richard. I made him drive all the way from Oklahoma to help me out today. Whatever, buddy. He's actually a really skilled welder, he won't tell you that, and we're doing my first ever welding project. So, I'm pretty happy.
Why can't we do welding?
All right, so now that we've popped Ryan's cherry with the welder, making wall mount brackets for floating shelves, we're gonna make a little display piece for these stars. We're gonna take an old barrel stave and screw on a piece of 3/16 bar stock to the back, and then project out some metal rods like that these can hang on at craft fairs for display and whatever. This will be a good one because we're going to be doing some welding, some fitting, we're dealing with curves. It's a nice little baptism by fire for simple welding. So,
I like it.
let's get to it. Wire brush them?
Yeah.
Now we attach the 3/16" bar that we're using here to the back of the staves, and then open some holes up to a 1/2 inch. Then use a die grinder to make those holes square so the bars will fit through them.
Alright, so this is the die grinder. Like the angriest grinder you'll ever meet in your life. Yeah, boy! You wanna try this? No?
Nope.
You sure?
Yep.
Alright. It's all about knowing which tool can actually hurt you.
In all seriousness though, guys, stay safe out there. Respect the tools that can hurt you. Now that we have square holes in the metal bar, we need to open those holes up in the wood, which is what we're doing here. Chisels seem like the best way to do it.
I'm just saying I got mine done first.
It took a little coaxing to get Ryan back into using the metalworking tools, so I welded the bars up while he made sure everything was lined up right.
I like it, buddy. Thank you. You got me a helmet?
But he couldn't resist the chance to do some heavy metal welding.
Watch what I'm doing.
So what we've done here is taken the offcuts of our 3/16 by 1 inch flat bar and tacked them together in a 135-degree open weld, which is a great way to practice and lay down at nice speed.
Well, that's just standing before. That's hot.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude, when you're welding heavier stuff and you can just lay into it. Alright, I'm telling you what. Welding, grinding, cutting, chiseling on bourbon barrel staves, it smells fantastic in here, dude. It's insane. Let's do a test fit. Oh, that's still hot.
I I like it, man.
There you go.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Perfect. All right, guys. Follow Ryan. Not so big of a YouTuber, but definitely an Instagrammer.
Yep. Everywhere online you can find me. Just look for Barn Rat Studio.
Catch you guys on the next one.
See ya.
All right. You are gonna. Oh, it's hot.